years ago that Jessica Lal was killed, and 7 years ago that a trial court decided that no one killed the young Delhi model. The case fell through in the lower courts because of witnesses going back on their statements and because of a two-gun theory which raised doubts in the court's mind about who the killer was. After the acquittal, of course, there was massive outrage and a re-investigation which eventually led to a life sentence for key accused, that's Congress leader Vinod Sharma's son Manu Sharma. But the case failing in the trial court has always been seen as a major miscarriage of justice, a failure of the system. Today, the High Court has followed up on that by ordering a trial against two people who turned hostile, which basically means that they went back on their statements. One is an actor, Shayan Munshi, who went back on his statement saying that he didn't understand what the police took down because it was in Hindi. And the other one is ballistic expert P.S. Minocha, who introduced a two-gun theory which confused everyone and basically couldn't let the case be proved without a doubt. Now they will face trial for perjury. On the Buck Stops here tonight, we ask, is this going to be a game changer? Will it reverse the trend of so many witnesses turning hostile? We have Jessica Lal's sister Sabrina Lal will be joining us in a bit, and a whole panel of legal experts explaining the repercussions of this case. But first, an update on the big story of the day, UPA 2's 4 years in office and presenting a report card to the people at a time when it is deluged by criticism and corruption scandals. At a dinner party to celebrate the occasion, Congress chief Sonia Gandhi lashed out at the opposition for targeting the Prime Minister. Congress President also made it clear that there was no rift between the party and the government. NDTV's Barkha Dutt was there at the dinner. Barkha, first, the Prime Minister and Sonia Gandhi, Congress President, spoke with you. What did they say?
Well, Sunitra, I think the big takeaway from an evening that most journalists expected to be a routine release of a report card where the government would defend its what it believed to be its achievements at a time when many people believe that the government is facing an unprecedented credibility crisis, turned into a distinctly political speech by Sonia Gandhi. So first, it was quite interesting to just compare the speeches made by Manmohan Singh and Sonia Gandhi. The Prime Minister made a pretty predictable, conservative, straight and narrow speech which listed out what he believed to be the achievements of his government. By contrast, Sonia Gandhi made a much more political speech. Not just did she transfer the blame of bills like the food security bill not going through on what she called the opposition's obstruction of parliament, but the most politically significant takeaway, and perhaps it was a takeaway meant not just for the BJP, but actually for detractors of Manmohan Singh within the Congress party, was her strong public defense of the Prime Minister, where she said that the Prime Minister had conducted himself with dignity in the face of a relentless hostility from the BJP. Now, later I got a chance to speak with both the Prime Minister and Sonia Gandhi. I started by asking Sonia Gandhi how she would evaluate the performance of the government, and she said that she was very satisfied. She had no major disappointments, and she went on to say that it was only people whose world was confined to Delhi, who never saw a world outside Delhi. Actually, she said, "You Delhi walas," a colloquialism to make the point that about the urban middle class, perhaps, or people in the cities. And she said, "You people are the ones who criticize us, but the country knows what we have achieved." I then said to her that her comments on the Prime Minister were going to be the big headline story from her speech, and she said, "Well, that was a given. Why did it come as a surprise to journalists? She had always backed the Prime Minister, and that she believed these stories to be completely an invention of the media." Now, this is very, very significant because, Sunitra, the fact of the matter is that there is certainly enough Congress leaders who privately have not been backing Manmohan Singh, who have been itching for a change, who have wanted a leadership change, but the message has come from the top today that there will be no such thing. A strong statement of support, almost aggressive statement of support for Manmohan Singh, whom one got a chance to talk to as well. And I asked the Prime Minister how he would describe his own mood at the end of 4 years, considering that the government appeared to be literally under siege. And he said, he quoted Urdu shairi, which he often likes to do in Parliament as well. And he said, "Sitaro ke aage aur jahan bhi hai." In other words, there is a galaxy beyond the stars that there is still left to conquer. Now, that's poetic, but it's also cryptic. What does he mean? Does he mean that there's a world beyond this government? Does he mean that there are still other goals for him to aim at? Or was he just, in a sense, being a little bit abstract to avoid the specific question, we don't know, but that was his answer.
Barkha, they're giving us an update of exactly what was presented at that UPA 4th anniversary dinner. Barkha, from the capital. Now let's get back to our focus for the show this evening. How the Delhi High Court initiated perjury proceedings against Saion Munshi and ballistic expert P.S. Manocha, and how the court has also referred the matter of witness protection. Neha Khanna has the story of what the court said while ordering perjury action.
Actor Saion Munshi and ballistics expert Prem Sagar Manocha, two of the 32 witnesses who almost turned the course of the Jessica Lal murder case by turning hostile, will now be tried for perjury, that is, lying under oath.
In this case, the court has came to the conclusion that once Saion Munshi and Manocha has made a somersault in their statement, which were given to the police during investigation, and after they deposing against the version given to the police, they are liable to be prosecuted for perjury.
Actor Saion Munshi was the one who filed the FIR after the model was shot dead at a South Delhi party. But in court he said he didn't know what was in the FIR as he didn't know Hindi. Prem Sagar Manocha, a ballistics expert, had examined the cartridges found at the crime scene. In court he said the shots had been fired from two different weapons, contradicting the prosecution's version. Subsequently, the trial court acquitted the accused in February 2006. In December that year, the High Court set aside that verdict, convicting Congress politician's son Manu Sharma, and decided to look separately at the witnesses who had turned hostile. The prosecution wanted 19 of the witnesses to be tried for perjury. Today, the court discharged 17 of them. Saion Munshi and Prem Sagar Manocha face up to 7 years in jail. The court has also asked the Delhi government to evolve a witness protection program in 10 weeks. Key witnesses turning hostile and an entire criminal case collapsing in a court of law. This is an enormous challenge that our legal system has been beset with for a long time now. Today's significant order could go a long way in countering and changing that. The court has also said that guidelines will be laid down for a comprehensive witness protection program, something that going forward could very well become the bulwark of scores of criminal trials across the country. In New Delhi, Neha Khanna for NDTV.
Let me just introduce our guest this evening. We hope to be joined by Sabrina Lal, who's Jessica Lal's sister and who's been fighting for justice for her since 1999. Also in studio with us, we have Neelam Katara, mother of Nitish Katara, who has been in a similar situation in her case as well. Several witnesses have turned hostile. She joins us here in studio. Raju Ramachandran, former Additional Solicitor General, also a noted senior lawyer, and Justice Mukul Mutkal as well. And we also have joining us from the capital Shoma Chaudhary, editor of Tehelka magazine, who led an operation, did a series of stories which actually exposed how Saion Munshi was lying about the fact that he didn't understand Hindi. If I can just start with you, Mrs. Katara, before we get Sabrina to comment as well. When you heard about this, when you hear about today's proceedings, and we know as someone, I've covered crime as well, we know how common it is that witnesses turn hostile. Does it bring you hope?
Definitely, it is a step in the right direction, and I think the courts have done the best they could. But of course, there is a lot more to be done, because again, there's going to be a trial, and again, the same forces will be working. So, whether the full truth comes out of this depends. I think that we need some way of taking to task people. If this man has lied under oath, what were the circumstances and who were the people who made him do it? And I think there has to be some action against them also if we really want to take this forward.
Okay, we'll expand on that in just a bit. But, while we focus at a time on people who went back on their statements, it's perhaps also important to note and give credit to the people who stood by their statements. And perhaps in this particular case, which is the Jessica Lal case, if one person who stood by the statement and in fact ensured conviction in the High Court by the High Court is witness Beena Ramani, who joins us on the phone line. Beena Ramani, your first reaction on hearing that Saion Munshi, who I'm sure you know well, is now being charged with perjury.
For one thing, I think that justice is being served, but that's only 50% of my opinion. I have to agree with what Neelam Katara just said. There has to be a much stronger, effective witness protection program in place. These are individual people, some are young, some are older, some are inexperienced, who are caught in that movement and become witnesses of a terrible crime. And if on the other side, like in this case and several others, the people on the side on the side of the accused happen to have the kind of power and clout that Manu Sharma's side had, what chance is there for a poor witness? I know there were about 100 witnesses originally that now seems to whittle down to 17. The powers that be that breathe down on them with their threats and their power is almost impossible to withstand. I know the pressure that my family and I had to go through, and
Can you elaborate on that, Ms. Ramani? Can you elaborate on these pressures for all of us and for the viewers at home, to give them, and people who are not familiar with the justice and the criminal justice system, can you give them an instance of what kind of pressures they have to face?
Sure. They come from all sides. The origin is the one source, the powerful parents of the perpetrator. It could come from any part of India, and we've been watching it happen over and over again. And then they have the entire system working. And I noticed more and more, now that we become so alerted to how it works, that within, I'd say, the first 30 minutes of the crime, if not earlier, the police who take on the case are already taking sides. They already know where they're going to profit from. And from that moment on, any one of the witnesses who is weak or who is strong is then really the one who is going to be the one to pay the price. The powers that be are all on the other side. Often the prosecutor who is taking, supposed to be on the side of the witnesses, has also been bought out. So there really is almost nobody on the side of the poor witness. And I have to say poor witness because you need to have conviction, integrity, a very strong foundation. And I am sorry to say that the leaders of our country and the way our country is going, there is no role model to tell us what is the right and what is wrong. And we are watching to see corruption wins every time. Where is the chance for the poor witness?
Yes, Mr. Ramani, I understand. In fact, your story and what you're saying about the pressure they face, it enlightens us about the kind of factors that go into such cases. But if there's one thing, I know you have to catch a flight now, if there's one thing as a witness, as a prosecution witness who came through in the end, if there's one thing which you think might really help, what would that be? Is it perhaps as a prosecution witness, do you need security all the time? What is that one thing which will make your jobs to testify that much easier?
Okay, no, we had no such security to help. We did get some security rather late after one of the threats had been carried out. However, we survived that one. But I would say at the end of the day, you really have to believe in yourself and have faith in God and know that the truth will almost always win. It hasn't always won in Indian justice system.
Right.
But truly, I think 90% of the time, if you really stand strong and know that staying true to yourself and having that integrity within you and believing in yourself, it does get you through. Just don't buckle in with the pressure. And thank God for the media now, but the media had kind of got derailed a bit in the beginning. But right now, I think media has such an important role to play to support witnesses. I think under the circumstances that we face right now, it's the media that can support the witness more than anybody.
Thanks so much for joining us and giving us your side of the story, a witness who actually came through for the prosecution and helped in the conviction in that Jessica Lal case.